everyone, it's Kelly here. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time, welcome back if you've been before. Lovely to have you either way. On this channel we talk books, and today I am bringing you just a little book haul. These are books that I have received as Christmas gifts or birthday gifts, because my birthday is in early January. And also one that I purchased. So let's get straight into it. These are all brand new books. There's no secondhand books in this haul because I haven't been secondhand book shopping, and these are all gifts for the most part. Let's start with the book that I purchased for myself, which is the third installment of the Witch Hat Atelier series. I actually haven't yet read the second one, but I know I'm going to, and then I'm going to want this one. I just came across a shop that had it in stock, so I decided to pick it up. I won't tell you about what this particular installment's about because I don't know what happens in installment 2, but generally speaking, this is a graphic novel series that is about a young girl who discovers the secret of magic, and then although she hasn't been raised in magic, has to go off to a school where all the other students have. So yeah, it's sort of her finding her feet and exploring what she's capable of and the magic and all of those kind of things. I really enjoyed the first one. Very much looking forward to reading more from this series. So that's the only one that I actually purchased with my own money. The next ones I purchased with either gift vouchers or cash that I had been given for Christmas. So the first one I bought from Dimmicks because I had a voucher that was given to me from the PNC, which is the Parents and Community, at my work. So I'm a school teacher, and at the end of the year all of the teachers were given a $25 voucher. So I was like, great, it includes Dimmicks, I'm going in there. And this is the book I purchased. It's called Ankami, To Give Life To, by Debra Dank. Debra Dank is an Aboriginal Australian author who I've read from before. She wrote a really amazing memoir, I suppose, called We Come With This Place, that I read a couple of years ago. Basically, I will buy anything that she puts out. So this is her most recent book. It's only just come out, and I'm looking forward to reading it. On the back it says, "Be careful what you wish for," wrote Aesop, "lest it come true." Debra Dank had long been desperate to visit the National Archives to paint a fuller picture of her family, to add flesh to the name bones and the few precious stories she possessed. What she discovered would shatter everything she thought she knew about her family and her past. She had been aware of her father's 5 siblings, some of whom had died before she could come to know them, but there were always whispers and gaps and silences. Certainly her parents had experiences that affected how Debra grew up, but hers seemed to be one of the very few Aboriginal families who had escaped having children stolen, who had viewed this horror from a seemingly safer distance. But the information she uncovered revealed that her paternal grandmother had given birth to 10 children. 4 had been taken from her. So basically this is her reflecting on that process, and I think it's going to be amazing. The next books that I purchased came from cash that my father-in-law gave me. I picked up this really beautiful edition of Persuasion, which is my favourite Jane Austen, and currently my favourite classic that I've ever read. And I would like to reread this maybe in 2026. We'll see if that eventuates, but I just thought this was really beautiful edition. It's Cranford collection, it says on the side. It's a naked hardback with a really beautiful illustration, and when I opened it up as well, the text is really, I don't know if you can see that, nice and large, good margins, good spacing. So I just thought this actually is going to be a really nice edition to read from. So I'm hoping that I'll get to that in 2026, but I'm happy to have yet another edition of Persuasion, as it is my favourite classic. And I have only read it once, so I would like to rectify that situation. The other book that I purchased with money from my father-in-law was this poetry collection. It's called Best of Australian Poems 2025, guest editors Namley and Jill Jones. I did mention this book already because I've started it in my, what was probably the last video that you would have seen on my channel, where I talked about my reading plans for January and for 2026, but because I had already started it, I mentioned it there. But basically this is just a collection of poems that were published in 2025 within a particular, it's 24 to 25, what do you call that, financial year, is the time period, and then this comes out at the end of the year. I've never bought one of these new before. I have seen various kind of like best poems of this year kind of collections, and I have a really old one that I've picked up secondhand, but I've never bought one new. So I was like, let's have a look. I'm enjoying it so far. I'm up to page 83 at the moment, at the time of filming, but I expect that I will finish this in January, so that's exciting too. Now we're moving on to the books that I was directly gifted, and all of these I think were for my birthday. Is that correct? I think so. So I received, I've had these before, different ones, where T2, which is a tea company, does a crossover with Penguin, and they put out a limited edition book that goes with a matching like tea mug, and you get some teas as well in the set. I've had several of these before, but I received two for my birthday this time around. One was the set that included this really lovely edition of Outlander. I don't know how interested I am in reading Outlander. We'll see if I ever get to it, but I really do like the illustrations on the cover, etc. The mug for this one is really beautiful, and it has this sort of pattern on it. And then the other one that I received was the Great Gatsby set. The Great Gatsby I have read before. This is also really beautiful. But yeah, maybe I am due a reread because it's been a really long time since I read the Great Gatsby. So yeah, I'm adding these two to my classics collection with the T2 Penguin marriage. And then the last two books that I received were ones that were on my wish list that my husband and Katz purchased for me for my birthday. The first one is Bread of Angels by Patti Smith, which is a memoir that's just come out. So I read Just Kids by her, which was a memoir that she wrote about her youth and sort of basically the lead up to her becoming a well-known musician. I don't know where this one fits with that, so let's have a look at the back. The most intimate of Smith's memoirs, Bread of Angels invites us into a post-Second World War childhood in a condemned housing complex described in Dickensian detail, and her teenage years where the first glimmers of art and romance take hold. Patti starts to write poetry, then lyrics, ultimately merging both into the songs of iconic recordings such as Horses, Wave and Easter. She leaves it all behind to marry her one true love, Fred Sonic Smith, with whom she creates a life of devotion and adventure on a canal in St. Clair Shores, Michigan. A series of profound losses mark her life. Grief and gratitude are braided through years of caring for her children, rebuilding her life, and finally writing again. The one constant in a life driven by artistic freedom and the power of the imagination to transform the mundane into the beautiful, the commonplace, into the magical, and pain into hope. So this sounds like it is going to be a memoir that covers her whole life. But yeah, I'm looking forward to reading that one. And the last book that I received for my birthday directly was Mother Mary Comes to Me by Arundhati Roy. Arundhati Roy wrote the book called, and I have it on my shelf but I haven't read it, The God of Small Things. This is a memoir about her mother. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading this one. Arundhati Roy's first work of memoir. This is a soaring account, both intimate and inspiring, of how the author became the person and the writer she is, shaped by circumstance, but above all by her relationship to her extraordinary singular mother, Mary, who she describes as my shelter and storm. Distraught and even a little ashamed at the intensity of her response to the death of her mother, she ran from at age 18, Arundhati began to write Mother Mary Comes to Me. The result is this astonishing, disconcerting, surprisingly funny chronicle, unique and simultaneously universal, of the author's life from childhood to the present, from Kerala to Delhi. With the scale, sweep and depth of her novels and the passion, political clarity and warmth of her essays, Mother Mary Comes to Me is an ode to freedom, a tribute to thorny love and savage grace, a memoir like no other. So I read a little bit of this in the bookstore and was like, yeah. Also, look at this amazing image. What a cool lady. Yeah, so I'm very much looking forward to reading that one. That one was from my wish list as well. So those are the books that I am hauling from Christmas and birthday. I still have a little bit of cash left over, so potentially I will use that while I'm away on my trip that I'm about to go on down the coast. Because I certainly will be doing some secondhand book shopping there, so there will be a forthcoming book haul from that, and maybe I'll use some of my Christmas money for that as well. I've still got about $50 left to spend. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Bye.